This is Tiger Cats postgame on the Ticats Audio Network.
Tiger Cats postgame. Bubba O'Neill along with Andy Fantuz. And boy, Tim Hortons Field is a fun place to be when the Tiger Cats are putting up 48 points there, Andy. This environment is electric right now because I think to the Tiger Cat fan, they're thinking to themselves, this is what we've been waiting for all season.
It certainly is. They are firing on all cylinders. There was 9 different receivers catching passes. They had just under 100 rushing yards. Dane Evans, 25 for 32, 327 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 0 fumbles, 0 sacks. That is impressive. And you just feel the energy was different. They had such a strong first half and a little bit of a lull in the third quarter that you thought, uh-oh, not again. But they were able to snap out of it and put together a long touchdown drive when it mattered the most.
And I think that was the sign of the confidence that they had all game long, is that when they felt threatened, they were able to buckle down and, as you said, put together that long time-consuming drive, which ended with that touchdown pass to Ungerer. I think, we talked about this possibly being a game that the Bombers maybe might be thinking light on the Tiger Cats, a trap game as we called it. I thought the Bombers played a good football game, and it was really competitive at points in the first quarter, 10-10. The Ticats, I thought, putting up 24 points in the second quarter, really established themselves, and I think it gave them that confidence.
Yeah, that's where they created the separation and then never let go of that. And you can't help but look at that stat that we talk so much about, which is the turnover stat. I mean, there was 3 turnovers for the Bombers. One of them was in that second quarter, fumble for a touchdown, and then the 2 interceptions that Zach threw. That was really the difference in the game because the Bombers put up a ton of yards. I mean, they had 445 yards. They had more yardage than Hamilton, but Hamilton still felt in control throughout this game. And but yeah, you got to go back to that turnovers. And if the Ticats can play clean football like this and not get sacked, not give up turnovers, I mean, you can see what they can do. They have the firepower. They have the players on all phases to compete with anybody and to beat anybody if they're playing their game.
On our Tiger Cats post game, we will review Andy's Car Star 3 keys to victory. We'll have a conversation with Coach Orlando Steinauer, who has to be one happy camper, as presented by Access Storage. We will talk to a player in the locker room. We're hoping to get Dane Evans, who, he can really be proud of his performance. Our performer of the game, as presented by Hercules Tire, right on our strength. I think let's not waste any time here, Andy. It's obvious.
Yeah, we went with Dane Evans, and we talked about his stats already, 25 for 32. That's only 7 incompletions. I mean, throughout an entire game. That's really impressive. 327 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks, 0 fumbles. But what I liked the most was just the poise, the demeanor, watching him. He didn't have the crazy happy feet that we were talking about pregame. He had his eyes were downfield. He was going through his reads. Whenever he stepped up in the pocket, you could see he would dip his shoulder, both hands on the football, really protecting it. You could see he came back and really reflected on that first 2/3 of the season during his time off in that bye week, and came back with a vengeance and was just striking the ball all over the place. It was a really, really exciting and impressive performance.
What I liked there, too, was after the touchdown pass to Ungerer, which was his 5th of the day, the emotional outpouring there with his teammates, and then actually going over to the crowd, taking his helmet off. And, I mean, that was, I'm sure, let's be honest here, he has not played well. And I think that was just an emotional outburst of saying, this is the real me. This is, the leader that he wants to be. He wants to be the Tiger Cats quarterback. He wants to be the focal guy. And he's almost saying, give me the ball. Give me the responsibility. And to see him convert like that and play the way he did today, I think his teammates, I'm sure he's going to get the game ball today. I think that's fair.
Bubba, I love the way you said that. I honestly do. And I think when you wear your heart on your sleeve like that and you just give it your all, he won the heart of all the fans here in attendance, all the fans watching on TV or listening to us on the radio, like he won them back. I mean, if he had lost them at all, or if they were wavering with Dane Evans, is he really the guy? Like when you see that emotion, that commitment, and that response after the first part of the season there, you're going to have to put more than one game together, but right now I think that he's feeling good, and he should be, and everybody in this building watching this team and fans of this team should be as well.
I think one of the things we talked about in the pregame and was certainly talked about by RJ and Luke up in the booth is that, to beat the Bombers, who are 12-1 going into this contest, is that you're going to need all three aspects to contribute. So the offense played, their best game of the season. Defense contributed, and I know you're always talking about the defense taking a bit of the load off the offense and contributing with some points on the board as well.
Yeah, and the special teams played well also. They did their job. I mean, it was very complimentary football. The defense did give up quite a bit of yards. And there were some points in the game where you would hope to, tighten it up just a little bit with the tackling and a couple key penalties. But just to extend drives with those penalties and those missed tackles in key times, those are what you're going to want to eliminate. I'm sure there's more than that when you're watching the film. There always is. It's never as good as it seems. It's never as bad as it seems. But overall, they came out and played hard, physical football. They were all over the receivers. There was a lot of contested catches being made out there by the Winnipeg receivers. So you got to give them credit. You got to give Zach some credit. But they came up with those two big interceptions after that fumble return for a touchdown. So when you contribute like that, and don't give up any big, massive plays and score points, it really helps out. That's complimentary football.
Fans, I'm telling you, this is what you want to be doing. It's the redtag.ca Ultimate Hamilton Tiger Cats Fan Trip Contest. This is your chance to win a trip for 4 to fly and stay with the team in Montreal, their upcoming game, for that Ticats September 23rd contest at Molson Percival Stadium. To enter, hit ticats.ca/redtag-fan-trip. Let's open up and go roundtable style. We'll bring in number 22, Courtney Stephen. Courtney, I know you and Mike Daly were talking about the possibilities of what the Ticats had to do to knock off the 12-1 Bombers. I guess you could say check, check, check.
Absolutely, Bubba. It's almost like they listened to the podcast or something like that. No, the coaches put together a great game plan, and you could see from the very beginning of this game that they were going to apply pressure. They were going to dictate where Zach could go with the ball. And then on offense, they were putting together drives, sustained drives, and not just one or two, but they ate up a lot of clock. And when they got opportunities to put points on the board, that was a big difference for me, is that they converted on third down, and they converted when they got within scoring range, and that was the deciding factor in this one.
Yeah, only I think, was it 1 or 2 2-and-outs in the entire game for the offense, and that's
one in the third quarter that I can remember.
That's great to see, and we talk, you nailed it right there. Just all 3 phases, just firing. Luke had a great call at the end of the game, and he's about to join us here too, but. You gotta love what you saw after the bye week against the leader of the league, and to show like when it's gut wrench time. Who is this team? What is their identity? Are they gonna come out and fight for this playoff spot? And the answer is yes. And now everything seems so bright. It's so funny, the roller coaster of emotions you get with football, especially this season in the East Division.
Well, the feeling is definitely different than Ticats fans have been used to this year, because it wasn't like this one was down to the wire either. There was significant periods of domination in this game. Like, they were up by 20 points at one point, and when you have the ball late in the game, getting that drive put together is the sign of a team that's dominating, and I think that's what you could call that performance.
Tiger Cats post game, we do have exclusive access to the coaching room. Time to check in with Coach O, as presented by Access Storage. Bubba O'Neill here with the coach. And, well, Orlando, What do you say? I mean, that was everything I think all Ticat fans had been dreaming about, and you did it against a quality opponent.
Yeah, super proud of everybody. Came out and played, and there was a few chances to have lulls, but the offense really took control in the beginning, gave the defense a rest, and, we took control early, had a little slip up there, but it's 2 points, and that's what we needed, and that's what we got. So all I can say is I'm proud of everybody. That's coaches, players, therapists, everybody involved was focused and locked in this week.
Coach, is it just 2 points, or coming off a bye against a team like this, and really where you got to figure out your identity and how you're gonna play for the final third of the season? There's got to be a little something extra, or am I wrong?
Yeah, this is a great football team that people have had a hard time cracking the code to this year. And when you're on top, there's only one way to really go. And I'd like to think that you come into a hostile environment here, and we kind of set the tone early. And by the time they still showed the heart of a champion there, and brought it to a 10-point game. So, but at the end of the day, no, it is only 2 points. But to say that the way we did it and how we handled it, I'm very proud.
Yeah, Coach, you had that tough penalty on the goal line that led to their score, and then the following drive, again, another score, like you said, made it a 10-point game. But how important was it for your team's confidence to show that response in that long drive, first down after first down, to end in the touchdown within the 3-minute warning there in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think it goes without saying. It's extremely important, and the fashion in which they came, I thought we were able to run the ball a little bit. Thought we fell forward quite a bit. Credit the O-line, and made some key runs and catches there. And of course, Dane picked one up with his feet there late that proved to be a pretty defining moment in that one drive we're referring to.
Coach Luke here. I think as a player, as a coach, you've been a part of teams where the 3-9 team goes out to the 12-1 team and really doesn't stand a chance starting in the first quarter. What's different about this team? Why were they able to perform like that against the best?
Well, it's the things that everybody on the outside doesn't see, to be honest with you. It's them coming to work every day, and it just hadn't showed up in the win column. And it's really nothing bigger than that. I could go into the details of that, but it's just the way they prepare, the way they haven't divided, the way the coaches are, the way our meetings are. You can feel it internally, but I get externally. You always got to show up in the win column, and we did that.
Coach O, you got a lot of players making contributions, meaningful contributions on this team, guys who've only been called on in the back half of the season. 9 different receivers caught the ball today. How important is chemistry into what the team is building right now and what they're trying to do in the back half of the season, these last 6 games?
Well, I just think it's a credit to the coaches for making sure the next person up is prepared, along with focusing on those that are going to play that week. And then also it goes to the players staying ready. And that's hard to do sometimes when you're talking about an 18-week season, plus 2 preseason and whatnot. So, I just can't say enough about distributing the ball. Everybody contributed, and like I said, I want everybody to enjoy this one, but it's a short turnaround, and we'll be in Montreal next week.
Coach, one more. The past few games against Winnipeg over a few years, it's really been the pressure on the quarterback that's been the deciding factor in the game. And tonight, 0 sacks, not a lot of even contact against Dane, and he was able to move around in the pocket and make plays outside of the pocket. But what was different about the protection scheme tonight, if anything?
Execution. It's always going to come down to player execution. If I was sit here and tell you we put in new protections for this week, I'd be lying to you. So, there's, it's got to come from within, and you can't play for them. And, they responded. While they weren't flawless, they did a great job in key times to enable us to get the ball off. And so, that combined with some of the big plays, and I'm sure they were on the field a little bit longer than they normally are. I'm sure they were a little bit winded too. But, you could see the fight in Winnipeg. There's no quit in them. But I love our response.
Well, we love your response as well, too, Coach. Fantastic victory. Certainly enjoy this. I know you're on to as you said, the short week and moving on to Montreal, the province of Quebec, for yet another critical ball game. But enjoy this one for a little bit, please.
Absolutely, we will.
All right, there. That was head coach Orlando Steinauer. Exclusive access to the coaching room as presented by Access Storage. And well, guys, we've talked to the coach here a couple of times here, and things were, just maybe a little downtrodden, a little sad. But boy, as we've seen with the fans here, a lot of happiness going on right now.
It's always a lot more pleasant to call down to the coaching room after a win. But this one for me was the most satisfying of all the wins. And I liked how, it was I almost appreciated how things started to turn, and you would see, oh, not again for a minute there. But then that response, it was just so critical, and I think it's going to do so much to the confidence.
You're so right, Andy. I thought the same thing, because it wasn't, you can't just say, just an off day by Winnipeg. They climbed back at it in the fourth quarter, and Zach was being Zach there for a long time. And then the Ticats got to do what they've failed to do all year, which is put together and sustain a fourth quarter drive that ends in points. And doing that, and that touchdown to David Unger, I mean, that was the kind of plays that they haven't made at all this year. And to be honest, as I think back through my own career, I really can't relate to this game. At points in the season like that, and facing the best, to just go out there and just erase all the negativity all at once, that was a really impressive thing. And the Ticat fans stood up and clapped at the game as if they saw a great performance on a stage. I mean, because that's what it was. It was amazing to watch.
A number of heroic efforts. I mean, the third down stop on the goal line, you got a guy stretching out an extra inch just to tip the ball and make it an incomplete pass. There was a number of times where the pendulum could have begun swinging in the other direction. So, I mean, whether it's the final drive to bleed out so many minutes of precious time, or if it's, actually scoring a touchdown instead of a field goal in some of those red zone situations, it was all around a very strong performance. Guys got better today.
Let's take the spotlight now on Andy and his CarStar 3 keys to the game. And boy, I think they all kind of worked out today.
Yeah. Well, we talked about the number one was 400 plus offensive yards, and they ended up with 409. We did say, hopefully they could get at least 100 in every single quarter, and the third quarter was a little bit disappointing.
Made up for the second quarter.
Yeah, made up for the second quarter. They had 96 in the first quarter, but those are long drives, and sometimes you just don't get the ball enough to do that, because they didn't punt in the whole first half. The second quarter, 172 yards. The third quarter, only 41 yards. That was where they were struggling a bit. But the fourth quarter, to come back with 100 yards in that fourth quarter. So excellent job, big check mark for number one.
Number two.
Number two was sure tackling. And they did come out physical. They were all over the opposition. There were some points, though, in the third quarter especially, that we felt like, there was a couple drives extended because of missed tackles. So I'm not going to quite give them the check mark on that one. But overall, you didn't see those missed tackles leading to huge, big, explosive plays. So it's kind of like a wash on that one for me.
Number three, and boy, this was important.
Yeah, number three, we talked about winning the turnover battle, and we said they got to win it by 2, and they won it by 3-0. And the 3 is impressive, especially with a defensive touchdown, but the 0 to me is most impressive for this team. The 0 sacks and the 0 turnovers, what a clean game, and that's so refreshing.
I think that's really important. And Luke, can we throw this to you here? We haven't singled him out, but I think it is time to single him out. Andy and I have earlier in the postgame show. Dane Evans. He talked this week and was so open with the media. And he has been throughout this entire season, but I thought there was an extra layer to it, talking about the fact that he was struggling physically and that he was struggling with some issues with mental health and stuff, that kind of thing. And boy, we really saw him, I think, and I hate to use this phrase, but I will, the Dane Evans that we all expected to see this season. We did see it today.
Yeah, and actually we saw more of it than we've ever seen in one game. It was a career high. He's never thrown for 5 touchdown passes before. His previous best was a 4 touchdown game in 2019. I mean, it's just unbelievable the performance that he had out there, and the level of confidence to throw the ball that he, like the way that he did. I mean, to put his foot in the ground and throw laser beams down the field right where he wanted them to go. And just no fear. And when you've compounded mistakes on top of mistakes throughout a season, that hesitation can creep into your mind as to, am I sure I want to put the ball here before making another mistake? And that was not what he decided to take the field with today. And mental toughness is the word that comes to my mind, to be able to drop the luggage, as they say, and draw a line in the sand and just say, don't care what I've done, don't care what the season's been like. I'm going to go out there and play like I was born to be a quarterback, and in a sense, he very much so was. And I'm just really impressed and proud of a former teammate and the way that he just came out and just dominated.
He showed everybody what he's really made of, his character. Think about it. You have every excuse in the book to go out there and lay a goose egg if you're Dane, but in the biggest game of the year, because make no mistake, this was the biggest game of the year to this point, he had his best performance. That's what great players do.
Interestingly, too, and it's not, you don't play on the field quarterback versus quarterback, but if you stat-wise or just in the sense of the flow of the game, he really outplayed the outright MOP so far in the league, in the way that he performed tonight. And, of course, it's really offense versus defense and of course, blah, blah, blah. But he really put on a show tonight when everyone was expecting to have their eyes focused on Zach Collaros.
You got to give a lot of credit to the coaching staff and the leaders on the team, the players themselves, to kind of come back. And you talked about mental toughness, to really keep that drive and that desire and not let any negativity creep in. It's got to come top down, both from the organization level and then from a team level. So that starts with Dane as the quarterback. Just a great energy throughout the team.
Jeffcoat, Jefferson, Big Hill, silent tonight. These are impact defensive players that are unbelievable, and we'll talk about that point, because we're going to have to talk to our performer of the game as presented by Hercules Tire, right on our strength. And we're going to go down to the locker room and connect with our player of the game, Dane Evans. And this exclusive post-game interview is presented by Access Storage. Dane, you put it all together today and more.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was a fun one, man. We needed that win. Like Coach O says, we surprised everybody but ourselves, man. We played in a lot of good games this year and found ways to lose, and today we found a way to win. And I think it's going to be something we can keep building on. And it was just fun getting out there and playing again, man. Honestly, it was a good time.
Dane, what can you say about the offensive line and everyone else involved in protection tonight? Hardly getting hit at all. What can you say about that performance?
I can't say enough, man. Honestly, I guess I got performer of the game or whatever, but they did, man. Honestly, you know how it is, Andy. How's it going? We obviously have the 5-0 linemen in there in protection. We bring in receivers and running backs, tight ends. If you're on the field, you're going to protect at some point, and they did a phenomenal job today. I can't thank those guys enough. And like I said, I think it just shows that when we're physical, we can beat anybody. So it was a great win, great team win.
Dane, just catching a little bit of the no audio, but just the visual of the TV broadcast as I left the booth, and your post-game interview, I could just sense, some of the emotions of all kinds. And can you just speak to what a game like this, arguably the best game of your career at this time in the season, and what that means to you?
It just means everything to get a win, man. You know how it is. Once Labor Day comes and goes, thanks, man. Once Labor Day comes and goes, you got to start playing, right? So I was just extremely excited to get out there and play with the guys. And, man, we just needed a win, and we went and got it. It felt really good, and you're already excited for next week.
Dane, for the people of Hamilton who they got the number 9 jerseys, they're coming out here every week supporting it. For everybody who's in Hamilton and not, do you have a message for them heading into Montreal into the rest of the season?
Yeah, find your way to get to Montreal, and we need all y'all there, man. I don't care if you're wearing my jersey, somebody's jersey, just show up and show out. It's going to be a big game. We already know it. We know they're coming off a bye. Everybody in the East is. So we're excited for it, man. We're excited for every challenge, and it'll be great to see the black and gold in Montreal. So I'm excited for that.
Dane, one specific play I got to ask you about on that last drive there. That was so telling of how far you've come in this season to keep the ball for over 7 minutes in the fourth quarter. When you decided to tuck that ball and run for the first down, and you see Adam Bighill 10 yards ahead of you, talk me through that decision, what you were thinking, and your mentality towards making that happen.
Get the first, man. It didn't matter who was there. I was going to get that first. Obviously, I'm not exactly 100%, so I wasn't trying to run through him. And obviously, he lays the wood pretty well. So I felt like I could give him a move and get what I needed to get. And I knew it was just a big moment in the game. And I was extremely excited that the ball was in my hands. That's what a competitor works for, right? Like that. I feel like that was kind of what we needed. And had a little emotion out after that one. I'm not the fastest guy out there, but felt good to pick up a first with my leg.
Well, Dane, you could certainly see the confidence tonight. And is there anything that changed for you that you want to share with over the last few weeks? Just determination on your throw, stepping into them. Not a lot of happy feedback, hesitation, throwing off your back foot. Did anything change for you in your prep?
Not so much in the prep. Me and Tommy kind of looked at the footwork things over the bye week. And we figured out a kind of a formula that seems to be working for me. Kind of helps me stay a little bit more calm, a little bit, keep my eyes level so they're not jumping up and down so much. Seemed to work tonight, obviously. And mentally, I got to give another shout out to Dr. Carla Edwards, man. She helped me so much for the last month or so. And tonight was kind of just a culmination of all of our meetings. And it's not like a one-time thing. Like me and her are going to keep meeting and try and get my mind right. It's just another part of my game that I can tap into, and I feel like it honestly helped tonight. So I got to give her another shout out. So it was just a great team win, man, from everyone in the facility. You know how it is around here.
Well, a healthy and happy Dane Evans is a good Dane Evans running the offense and being the quarterback of the Hamilton Tiger Cats. We appreciate you joining us. Enjoy the victory. I know there's going to be a nice hard work of practice coming up here for Montreal, but enjoy the victory, sir.
Yep, thank you. Great talking to you guys, and let's keep it rolling.
Performer of the game, Dane Evans, presented by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength. Guys, let's finish up on this. Tiger Cats' next game is against the team, and the Tiger Cats and the Montreal Alouettes, the only teams to beat the Bombers, and now they meet each other next week with a playoff position on the line there, Andy.
It's going to be a huge matchup. If they win that game, they jump into second place because they have the tie break. They'll be tied in wins. It really is going to tell a lot for the ending standings. And just before we move on, I kind of want to just touch base on what Dane said. And I can really appreciate that mental health in football or in any sports, just the psychology of it is becoming more prevalent, and it really does matter. And, it wasn't like that always. And for him to, kind of come forth as a leader and just share that, I like that a lot for all the young athletes listening out there that, a lot of the game is played above the head, and you gotta train that as much as anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. Babe Ruth said, "What do you think about when you strike out?" And he said, "I think about hitting home runs." Like, it's all mental, man. Like, if you think you're going to make a mistake, it's already done. And Dane tonight believed that they were going to win and that he was going to be great. It was awesome to watch.
Hey, same guy who threw for 3,700 a couple years ago. Same guy.
Yeah.
Same jersey.
Yeah.
So any night he can show up and light it up, and that's what he did tonight.
What's going to be the key moving into Montreal?
I think they really just have to stick to what works. They ran the ball extremely well. They put drives together. They took the ball away, protect the quarterback. It sounds simple. But that's the formula.
Both Sean Thomas Erlington and Wes Hills ran the ball. That was an interesting part of tonight's performance. But, Andy, key three, man. First game of the year where they did not turn the ball over a single time. If they go to Montreal and do that, I'll bet you they win.
Yeah, agreed.
Hamilton Tiger Cats 48. The the two-time, back-to-back Winnipeg Blue Bombers, 31. Huge win for the Tiger Cats. Thank you for listening to the post-game show, the pre-game show, and, of course, the broadcast. Andy Fantuz, Courtney Stephen, and Luke Tasker here on the post-game show. I'm Bubba O'Neill. We will be back on Friday night. Woo! Hamilton heading to Montreal. It's going to be a good one, folks. We're the Tiger Cats pre-game presented by Journey with Words. We get going at 6:30. Why don't you join us, please, on the Ticats Audio Network. Have a great week, folks.